This video shows how scenario management can be of great help in all situations under uncertainty, at the example of the John Smithers case. Recap: 3 Western Electric veterans founded SIGTECH in the early 1960s. SIGTECH was a manufacturer of printed circuit boards for signal handling, with AT&T as a major customer. The company was relatively small but enjoyed little competition. The company was sold in the late 1970s. SIGTECH's management style was hands-off, and that was maintained by the new parent. During this time, SIGTECH enjoyed sales of $60 million and had a workforce of 1,000 employees. Unfortunately, this was short-lived. Early inventory piling across the industry led to an artificial depression of SIGTECH's sales, and major product changes did not deliver as expected. As a result, sales tumbled by 33% to 40 million and the workforce was cut back to 800. SIGTECH was sold again, but unlike its former corporate parent, the new owner made it clear to get involved how the new subsidiary is operated. By April, Telwork was ready to roll out a new total quality program at SIGTECH. John Smithers, Engineering and Service Manager, one of 2 site instructors for the Total Quality Program. Smithers reports to Andrew Cross, Vice President of Engineering. Smithers considers Cross to be his mentor. The 2 men had similar ideas about people management, problem solving, open communication and worker participation. Across his peers, Smithers was recognized for his leadership due to his infectious enthusiasm. Smithers was convinced that his easy egalitarian manner is key to a working relationship with his peers and subordinates. Andrew Cross, Vice President Engineering, co-heading the Total Quality Program with Richard PATRICOF. Cross was a strong promoter of John Smithers. Cross had told Smithers that he needed to put one of his best managers on the job, to have the engineering department best possibly represented. Cross and PATRICOF, VP of Operations, did not get along well, and Cross felt that Smithers would bring some important balance to the process. Richard PATRICOF, Vice President Operations, co-heading the Total Quality Program together with Andrew Cross. However, SIGTECH's only representative on the Telwork Corporate Quality Improvement team. Richard PATRICOF is an old-school manager who's leaning more towards style than substantive results. PATRICOF kept power typically by hand-picking representatives in his area of control. Smithers' perception was that PATRICOF rewarded those who parroted his beliefs and those who rarely questioned the status quo. Sam Murphy, New Product Introduction Manager, the other site instructor for the Total Quality Program. Sam Murphy, from the operations side, a firefighter type of manager. Selected by Richard PATRICOF as a second site instructor for the Total Quality Program. Sam and John already had several run-ins and did not enjoy a respectful working relationship. Let's have a look to the system chart. First is the process of historic and cultural change. Then we see the process of management communication, the process of cross-department collaboration, the process of reputation and popularity building, the process of managing personal relationships, and the process of corporate learning. Finally, the process of getting change moved. Across these processes, we find the key influence factors like top management support, interests, public visibility, corporate heritage, working relationships and public opinion, facilitation tools, and drive. Let's switch to the Scenario Manager tool. The influence factors are recorded, and in the next step we will analyze their interdependence. What is the degree of influence public visibility has on working relationship? This information is recorded for each pair of factors in the influence matrix. On the base of this data, the key factors can now be plotted along their activity and passivity dimension. This means for John Smithers that top management support from Andrew Cross and Richard PATRICOF, as well as his own and Sam Murphy's interest, and the public opinion are the key drivers for success. And we clearly see that the working relationship between John and Sam is not an input, but rather the output of the progress the program management takes. Leverage and impact are other analytics supplied by Senario Manager. Now John can recognize that key pivotal points are the management of the public visibility and the public opinion. Now, all key factors need to be projected along two independent dimensions: organizational focus with high and little at its ends, and organizational energy with the low and high at its ends. Now the factor can be projected along those two dimensions and can assume four different modes: purposeful, procrastinators, detached, and frenzied. These projections will be applied to all factors selected from the system chart and the influence matrix. Next, we have to ask ourselves the question how consistent it is that two of those factor projections can exist in one scenario at the same time. How consistent is it that a winning team has a confrontational agenda, which is not very sound and likely to be highly inconsistent? The result is a matrix with paired consistency comparisons. This data is a base for the agglomerative hierarchic cluster analysis we can apply in Senario Manager. Projections are clustered to scenarios, and by help of the scree plot we can detect the optimal number. Multidimensional scaling helps to visualize the clusters. The cluster parameters can be fine-tuned until the clusters differentiate well. Further analysis gives us quantitative information about the driving forces across the scenarios. These driving forces are highlighted in the scenario elements from where we can synthesize the overall scenario story. Set the Flag is a scenario where a purposeful winning team drives a common agenda without a lot management involvement. Frequent, targeted and broad communication makes the interested public an ally for success. Churn describes a scenario where management involvement is lacking and opposing interests lead to separation while disconnected activities are rising. Working parties lacking focus and start frenzied with the creation of their own agendas. Calm. Management involvement got sporadic and the organizational energy is lost. The working parties detach and corporate communication has come to silence. Concealed discussions started across the workforce with open disesteem for the management. Sunk. There is no interest for progress across the working parties. They have stopped collaboration. There's virtually no communication to the interested public. However, this procrastination does not stop the discussion across the workforce as the topic is still of great concern. Now John Smithers has an idea what he can expect in the future. Now he prepares his personal strategy scenario grid to check out what works well under which condition. He immediately recognized three strategies which are most promising for the majority of the scenarios. First, internal communications to win the corporate public as an ally. Second, a project management process to ensure top management's involvement in the process. And third, facilitated relationship building between him and Sam Murphy. Based on this scenario analysis, there are the following suggestions to John Smithers. Communication. Frequent and broad communications to the corporate public to create a large coalition for the Total Quality program. Helpful tools are viral multimedia communication and project awards for program participants. Project management. Establish a stage-gate project management methodology with procedural immanent shared responsibility based on Prince2 principles. Grow. Understanding Sam Murphy's interests and creating shared understanding between Smithers and him by application of the GROW model, SEEK framework or skill-will matrix. Last but not least, entrepreneurial politics. Use PATRICOF as a political entrepreneur in the beginning and leverage the communication strategy to the corporate public to shift the nature to interest group politics. Useful tools are the interest group matrix and the distributive politics spreadsheet.